What did you pick from what you presented? Team members of the other, quickly. I mean, you are here. What did you pick from what you presented? Anything? Yes.
We have weak checking mechanisms as CSOs. We have documents that we can use. For instance, there is a lot of this is a commitment somehow by the government to do all this.
Yes.
But we have a weak system that does not allow us just to continue, because monitoring is continuous.
Yes.
We should just be there, using opportunities to get feedback on all these issues.
Yes.
But we have been quiet for long.
Now, if you look at a context whereby we have an area where civil society is not vibrant, or they're few, or they do not have the technical skills or capacities to engage government, we end up with a situation like one which we presented, a midterm eval, which has been done halfway. So if there are no checks and balances of us as civil society to know how we are going to integrate into the government processes now at programmatic level, there are some things which will bypass us. Some of those things which will bypass us are like what he said. There is an allocation, and that's what we see. Then there's an expenditure, which is off budget line for charcoal, but no one questions it. It's questioned at very high level, but the people who are supposed to be questioning it, civil society, do not know how to integrate and to unpack those process actions that are continually going on. Now, with that in place, you'll find the issue of accountability is left at office holder level. Now, that brings in the apathy that we talked about when Patricia was here. How do we, as civil society, being the face of the community, reverse the existing apathy for people to be more concerned about accountability? Even if I was to ask, which I did, how many people have this document, forget that it is final or not final. How many people had it? In this level, imagine you are the elite in terms of what we are doing, Hennet and OAY. So imagine at the lower level now, in SEME down there, how hard is it for them to be able to even walk into a planning and budgeting process and interrogate a document as big as this? How will they even start? What do they know about what? So you end up having a situation whereby people do not engage at that level. So when it is mentioned that 10 billion came, you look at it like, that thing is so utopian, I don't know how to connect with it. And gives leeway for lack of accountability at government level. Then secondly, in terms of those programs, remember civil society complements or supports government effort. There is very little indication of how civil society has structured itself to engage in those programs. Now, with that in place, government is left to do it. So the consequences to that is programs either are not effected holistically to address the initial challenge because there is a gap financially. So when the civil society does not come in to support, we'll have a government which is working, but from the eyes of the community, these guys are not working. But that support is actually not there. So that's partly what I picked from your presentation. And then from Maureen's presentation, they were looking at priorities. Of course, when you're looking at, as I mentioned before, you have 10 things, which is the most important. And I like the way she arranged them. If we address this, this is going to be done. If we address this, this is going to be done. But where are we in terms of that prioritization? When we say Ramka, like Ramka is funded to what level in Kisumu? 60 million.
61 million.
Is that sufficient?
No. FFP alone was 322 million.
Because even if you find in that Ramka, that 61 million, you will find that around 55 will be going for
recurrent
to the recurrent. So only 5 is remaining to cater for service delivery and even maintenance of other things.
Yes.
So you find it's inadequate.
Yes. So perpetually there's going to be that conversation about RAMCA is not working. It is ill-funded based on actual resources and probably technical people to deliver it within the county or something like that. So that's why I wanted us to unpack it that way. Now, when it comes to prioritization, of course we have prioritization at the planning and budgeting level, which Patricia engaged us, and we established that only a few of us attended, and 1 or 2 bypassed a planning and budgeting event, so they were not there technically. So if we are not at that level, how are we able to have the moral position to question it when it's at CIDP level? It is not there. Half the time that CIDP is written in a technical manner. Of course, at that level it has to be technical. But what informs it comes from the grassroots level. So when we have that apathy, a civil society which is not together in terms of building the capacity of the communities to know their civic rights and responsibilities as provided by the Constitution, then we'll have a situation whereby priorities are not the things that the community think that they're supposed to be. Then in terms of planning, also still speaks at a community level. We do not attend those things. Government meetings look boring. Unless now you have a clear understanding, you know how to interrogate those issues, then it means you'd be interested. And I like the example that was given about Okia Mtata in closure. What he does has 2 faces, according to me. Let me not be crucified. What he has 2 faces. Phase 1, it gives us, as civil society, the mandate to see how now the impact of many people seeking to appear in court can push government against the apathy. There are some people who think it's funded, well, I do not know. But if more people are doing it, of course he has a lot of successes than fails. That's the good thing, because success is not necessarily winning a court case. But that process of saying that he understands things thoroughly to that extent that he can take it to court, which is what we are missing. So if many civil society organizations would convene together and do such things, then at county level, we would start reaping the benefits of devolved governance, which I don't think we are reaping as it were. Yeah? So if anybody has a comment, we can make in closure. But I hope we understand why I thought it was necessary for us to interrogate from that perspective. Because if we don't have this document at this level, believe me, how are you going to build capacity at lower level when you don't even have the document and you don't understand how to strategize on engagement at planning, priorities, and programming? Yeah?
So wholesomely,
yes,
that combines systems and structures.
Yes.